he has taken on some of Lestat's gifts and abilities, so he's thereby stronger than some of the other vampires that they're going to encounter. But he doesn't even take full advantage of that because he doesn't even want human blood.
The gifts that he took on from Lestat were swallowed and dissipated after that. That's the only gifts that he took away from Lestat. Okay. Head of course. I'm just because once he got some of that French white,
he was no more good. He was no more good.
In the second season premiere of Interview, we see a wayward, destitute, and wandering Louis and Claudia attempting to find more vampires in post-World War II Europe. The bond between Louis and Claudia has been tested, and she ain't feeling your boy at all. Well, let's dive deep into the episode. Before we get started, I just want to let you all know that we are playing a drinking game. I believe Erica's word is... Erica, why don't you tell us what your word is and why?
French white. Elia's favorite description of the vampire Lestat, and I know what she's going to say.
Speaking of Elia, what is your word?
My favorite word, based on this episode, which was my favorite monologue, is going to be shit.
Corey?
My word is Armand because I am up in the air about how I feel about the character right now.
Okay, and my word is Louis. I just wanted to, that's a word that we're going to use all throughout, which is going to make it a little interesting for us, especially if we are indeed drinking liquor. Okay, so Elia, today's title is why don't you tell us what today's title is and your thoughts about the title?
What can the damn do to the damn? I feel like I got it wrong.
What can the damn really say to the damn?
Oh, well, damn, that should have been my word.
Look, we're gonna drink the damn too.
Right.
I couldn't remember the damn title. Touche. All right, so what can the damn really say to the damn? This title, from what I took from it, goes into Claudia's desperate search for other vampires, and she's looking for basically this family, since she really just kind of is trying to figure out who she is as a vampire, and she comes to find that things aren't as great as she thinks they are when she finds it. So it's like, I know what you thought she was looking for, but hey, what can the damn really say to the damn?
All right, so let's get started. So I noticed in the episode's intro, they showed planes flying between the city landscape. Did anyone else catch that?
I did not.
You didn't? Okay. Well, anyway,
old school planes?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Were they old school planes?
Yeah, to me, it was kind of like an ode to World War II. You know, just the fact that...
I know what you're saying, yes. Yeah,
you got that. All right. Anyway, Corey, the actress Delaney Hayles now has the role of Claudia. First impressions?
Well, originally, I was, as with anything, when there's a change, you're always kind of waiting to see how they're going to be different from the original. And the first thing that I keyed on was the accent, which I don't hate. I do not hate the accent that she has. It actually does sound like what I anticipate or what I expect, and it kind of makes me think that the last actress did not have enough of an accent considering the time period. Now, that's my thoughts on it. I will also say it may have been a little heavy at times, but her use and command of Romanian as well, and just the way that her cadence of her voice, I loved it. And she's a really, really good actress. She also did her own stunts. I don't know if y'all knew that. She did her own stunts, particularly the one in the cemetery and some stuff like that. So I was pleasantly surprised. I loved the previous actor. However, I think it was a great addition.
What was that last part?
I think she's a great addition.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, your thoughts?
I personally really hated to see Bailey go. If nothing else, I am loyal. I did hate to see her go. I thought she did a phenomenal job. But not taking anything away from Delaney, I will say that I have enjoyed her. I have really enjoyed her so far and what she brings to Interview. They are two extremely different actresses. However, I'm not going to say that one is better than the other. It's just you get used to seeing someone, you fall in love with them as an actress and a character. So when there's a change, much like Corey, I'm like, oh man, let me see what this person is going to do. But I'm glad that they did at least get a worthy replacement, and it didn't take away from the show.
Okay, bearer of men.
Okay, I'm not loyal, right?
I'm not.
He's ain't loyal.
But I think that first Claudia had a horrible accent.
She did.
Or it's down south. So it was probably easier for this actress because she's British or something along, the lines of, and I feel like when they do their acting, they do a really good job of figuring out how different American accents are. So this one was better. And I will say, I did think the last one was pretty good.
The last one was what?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's kind of hard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Okay.
This one is a little like last Claudia, and I'm gonna call her by name. Bailey, she was a little bit softer in a way, even though she did some gruesome things as an actress for the character anyway. This one seems a little cutthroat, kind of like she got a little edge to her. But I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it though.
Some more thrown off.
Like when I saw her face palm that kid, I was like, I like her.
I got children. I know you be wanting to face palm.
This is something I didn't think about for the role. Do you think that she is needing to be softer? Because if we think about the book, in the book, was originally played by, in the original movie, it was played by Kirsten Dunst. The character was, 10, 11? Mm-hmm. And so they've aged her up to about, 16 or 16, 18 maybe, in interviews that adaptation?
At this point, I don't remember.
Yeah. So do you think that it's a bad thing that she does look a little bit more mature, and she's not as soft, she's not as, I'm not going to say feminine because she is.
She still looks like a little girl.
So this is what I was going to say. In season 1, it was probably a good thing that they had Bailey, right? Because and that's why I was glad that Erica said it. I thought it would have come off, a little, this dude is saying this. But in season 1, it was okay for Claudia's character to be a bit softer. But in season 2, a lot about Claudia has changed, and so to have this particular character, it kind of grounds us in, okay, even her facial expressions are harder, and you can see the emotion of rage and anger and distrust and all of that a whole lot easier and simpler. Whereas the original actress probably would have had, I'm not going to say she would have had a hard time, but it's much more believable with this particular actress, Delaney Hayles.
Do you think it's because, and I hate that I'm saying this, but do you think it's because she is viewed as more commercially pretty? Not saying that the current one is not, because she is beautiful, but
the new one's commercially pretty too.
She is, but what?
You're talking about the skin tone?
Beauty. Eurocentric standards of beauty.
I was just about to bring in colorism too. So do you think that there is an aspect of colorism too? And maybe this is too deep for this topic, but I mean, do we think that there's in terms of perspective, do you think that we're going to have issues with it? Not that we have issues with it, but meaning the audience, the general audience, because fanboys are a mess.
Well, for me, by episode 2, I've seen episode 2. By episode 2, no, I'm into it. I'm into it. I've forgotten about the fact that it's a totally different person, and I'm glued in on her. What she's giving is something not totally different, but it's different, and that's why I said it's needed.
I kind of agree with you.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad you went there. Because it's a fair point. But follow-up question would be, do we typically see it done in this order? Is it typically the one cast may look like a original recipe Aunt Viv and then get recast with a fair-skinned person? Listen. So have we seen it happen in this order typically? So I don't know, just a question.
And look, and just to clarify, original Aunt Viv was better. I'm just gonna say that.
He was.
And we're also gonna say that this rendition of Claudia is better as well. So we'll see.
I like that.
I'm not gonna say. I am not gonna say.
I like colors, and it ain't got nothing to do for me with color. It was the fullness of her lips that made her different to me. And I was like, I like the old big lip.
Okay. Okay, listen.
Man, I knew my life was missing something. Here it is.
Oh, big lips.
I like big lips. I like full lips.
Can I?
All right. I want to mention it here. Claudia says she does not dream, but I want to revisit the idea later on into the review. I think it will make more sense to discuss her dream a little later in the episode, if we're okay with that. All right. From the first scene, we see a different Louis and Claudia. All throughout season 1, Louis had means. Can you describe the juxtaposition of their fortunes here? Let's start with Yeah.
So they done went from the high-rise apartment in the sky to the depths of the deepest dark pit of hell. Get out, war, right? The blood ain't the same. They not rocking with each other. Specifically, Claudia is not rocking with Louis because he still loves her. But so, I mean, so much has changed. They're basically just surviving at this point, as opposed to the thriving version of themselves that we saw in New Orleans. So we go from New Orleans to now we're speaking multiple languages. We're having to show papers. And Louis was that guy. There's your word, Erica. He was that guy when he was in New Orleans.
You said that.
And now they're just getting by. And they have to be very cunning, and more specifically, Claudia, she's so cunning. She's pretty much pulling the strings at this point. She's the puppet master. She's holding it down. She's making sure she has a story for everything, make sure they get safe passage, and making sure they eat. Claudia is definitely running the show.
Court.
So, and this is where I have issues with Louis, right? And it starts kind of around this time and continues through when I read the book, is the fact that I feel like he is just, I am so sick of him being tortured. I am so sick of it. I'm so tired.
He's a masochist. He is a masochist.
I am sick.
Right,
He
right,
enjoys that pain. He wants to sit in it, revel, and live in it. I am so sick of it. And Lestat is the character that I love because he embraces his brutality and all the things that we anticipate and expect. He embraces it. Louis is the complete opposite of that. Is why I love him, but also I'm so sick of him. So this first episode, we lived in Louis' misery, right? We were just in his misery, and lived in it.
I don't know what Armand gonna do. Armand probably blocked the memories because he was always crying and shit. That word.
And that is since you brought up Armand.
And him.
I don't know how I feel about him. I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Elia already went. Erica, describe the juxtaposition of their fortunes.
They was living off of that good French wine and that good money. Maybe they was wealthy and rich. I bet you they appreciate that shit now, don't they? Let's say. He wasn't all that damn bad, was he, boo? When he was sending you gifts and shit.
Let's say they haven't seen anything as attractive as Lestat in this episode. Nothing.
I mean, it got to be like, what, 20, 30 years of in time, in differential of time? Like, because it was the 20s when the last season was in the 20s, and we're in, what, 9? Well, no.
No, they said they had been in Europe 4 years searching.
Okay, 4 years, okay. My time's messed up, yeah. Okay. Look at your mini-me.
They see the podcast, they just jump in.
3 generations in one house. Look at it. You all look alike.
All look alike.
Just birth each other.
Blade. Shoot. Well, I'm trying to podcast.
Well, I did want to know. We all kind of sort of said it. So I was looking at the clothes that they were wearing. It's not regal. It is like just getting by. It's we found this, we're putting it on. That type of stuff. The fact that they had to sleep in the earth. That was different. And I'm so glad that Elia brought up the fact that it's now Claudia that's taking the lead. And there was even one point when she said her brother was dumb, and all he could do was just look dumb.
And did.
Quite a difference. All right, so
stark difference.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to set us up for the second part of this when we get introduced to the real heart of the sword, when they're going to kind of get back into a little bit more opulence. It might be a gritty opulence, but it's going to be a little bit more opulence. So.
Vampires don't like to stay broke, y'all.
No, they're not gonna be broke for long. Surely not.
I don't know what they've been doing in Romania, but this ain't the blood ain't the same. We don't do this across the water.
It's the depression. It's this. It's weighing on me.
This is original recipe vampirism. This vampirism isn't working for me. We do not do this across the water. Don't do this.
There was another change that occurred. Why do you think Louis is now drinking the blood of humans?
Because he's hungry. So here's the thing: when you are of means, you can choose to step down. But when you don't have nothing, and even the rats are running, then you gotta take what you can get.
I mean, no deer, no wolves.
No, did you see any deer?
They're walking around. All they doing is walking at night.
Didn't you hear him say even the blood?
World War II. They blowing up buildings. You think the wildlife gonna stay? Even the rats had to get the fuck.
Yeah, he ain't no soldier, so you ain't got to worry about no quartering of nobody. But that's not gonna happen.
You can't be sanctimonious when you're hungry.
You gotta.
I don't eat bologna, but leave it alone with me when I ain't got no money.
Right.
Shoot, that potted meat and banana.
I got a little corn, but if I ain't no corn, then I'll get that potted meat inside out. Give me a little rice with some butter and some eggs and be just as satisfied.
Look like escargot to me.
Right?
I can make me a pack of noodles just to keep my mind right.
Just in case.
Me too. And me too.
Get the hot sauce.
All right. After Louis thanks Molloy for understanding Claudia better, this is going back to season 1. There's an exchange between Molloy and I'm trying not to say the name. I just got to say Armand. What's really at the heart of this? And since I said the name, Corey.
Okay, so I think he's protected. He feels protected a little bit, maybe even overprotective, because we know at this point in time Louis is weak. So he is protective of him to an extent, but I also think that with his whole memory loss, and I think that Armand has some role in that. I think, because that was one of the first questions that I had, is I didn't recall at the end of the episode there being any sort of memory loss, and so I was wondering what that was, and so then I thought, is that one of his powers, so to speak, of being able to mind wipe? Because he's a much older vampire, right? He's ancient.
That's why he's getting pissed. Why you keep looking into that? Why can't I?
since you brought it up, that's exactly what happened. That was going to be one of my questions for later, but that's exactly what happened. We don't get to, I guess, in season 2, we don't get to talk about that or see it, but that's exactly what happened according to the book.
Mm-hmm. Must have missed that, but yeah, and so that's another reason why I kind of look at him side eye, because he's taking a little bit of Louis' agency, right, and not allowing him to process his feelings and process the situation, and it's almost making him beholden to Armand.
Louis needs a top. Louis is not a power bottom. He is just a bottom.
He's not a power bottom. He is a soft bottom.
That's what I'm saying. He's not that. He needs someone to lord over him. He needs that. He does.
I would agree with you on that.
Yes, he likes to be dominated.
Control me. Listen. I mean, Armand.
You said it right at first. You said it right at first.
But wait.
You the one you love.
Wipe me clean, Armand. Wipe me clean.
So this is the question. As a human, Louis was the man, right? When we first saw Louis was the man. How is it that now, as a vampire, he is, to use the word that we're using, he's now a bottom? Why?
Talk about a juxtaposition.
Right.
Because he's damn. That shit wasn't all he thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, juxtaposed from being a power top to a power bottom. Not a power bottom. Just
because Lestat broke him in a sense, right? In a way, right?
This is what I assert. I think Louis was probably always a quote unquote a bottom, but because he had to step up with his family, he did what he had to do.
So that's why you think it was so easy for him to settle into a submissive role, so to speak. That makes sense.
Yes. All right, next question goes to Corey and Erica, and of course, Elia, you can jump in. Louis imagines Lestat and goes over his remorse. To me, what's important here is whether Claudia could read his mind all those times. Was this what soured her towards Louis? If so, explain.
I don't think so. I think that this was the souring towards Louis started at the end of last season with his hesitancy and everything, right? I think that ultimately it's just a build-up, right? She is tired of. You would think that Louis would be taking charge, right? Instead, he has kind of put himself behind her, right? When she's the one that kind of needs, because she's younger in the dark gift, right? She's needing that guidance, that leading, or whatever, and he is not doing that because he's stuck in his misery, right? And I think that's part of it, right? I think that
Well, I do agree with you, Corey, but I want to remind everyone that even before they left New Orleans, she was learning the language, or the languages. So in a sense, that kind of sort of made her the obvious choice to do some of the talking. But even still, like, I still get what you're saying. Erica, not Erica, Corey, were you done?
Yeah.
Erica?
The question again?
Basically, we saw Louis just kind of like thinking about his remorse over Lestat. Do you think Claudia was reading his mind?
Yes.
And if so, do you think this is what soured her towards him?
Absolutely. I think that you can hear for 5 years after you try to murk someone who was keeping you, and it's got, you and your companion down, and keeping you beholden to them and being so malicious about it. And you do basically a favor for you both. And this ungrateful simp is sitting up here crying about him for 4 to 5 years after I took him out. I told you to burn him, and you ain't burn him. And I gotta get it. You think he was controlling that? No. He can't even control the projections he getting. Yeah, I think that's why. I'd have been tired of his ass too. Shut your ass up. He whining. He whining the whole episode. Why he should kept alive? Put him in the suitcase and just brought him with me. I gotta hear that. I'm here. 2 years, 4 years later. You still oh, you know what?
I'm trapped in a child's body, and you got problems.
Right.
Yeah, God got me right when I hit puberty, and that's the good part. First started getting my lady.
Not the 16, 17, 18-year-old part, the grown part, where she can kind of do some things with the young part.
Well, she could have got her a man. She'd have been left him alone.
Hell yeah.
That dream, come on. You got problems.
I think Claudia is very high functioning, so I'm knowing she's absolutely reading his thoughts. And she resents him. She 100% resents him, and she shows it. She does not shy away from it, not one bit. So,
in a diary. We can. I said, damn.
So it has to be one word, because. Imagine her trapped in this child's body as an immortal, dragging around dead weight that's supposed to be a father figure. Imagine the emotional ramifications of that.
But look, not even including the fact that he was made by Lestat, right? he has taken on some of Lestat's gifts and abilities, so he's thereby stronger than some of the other vampires that they're going to encounter. But he doesn't even take full advantage of that because he doesn't even want human blood.
The gifts that he took on from Lestat were swallowed and dissipated after that. That's the only gifts that he took away from Lestat. Okay. Big head, of course. I'm just because once he got some of that French white,
he was no more good. He was no more good.
And I'll drink to that.
Amen.
When Louis is talking to the Englishman, after they trade stories about their wives, and Louis is good and drunk, the Englishman toasts "Up your bum." Because I've seen the Englishman in a show where he plays a gay man, I took that as a flirtation. After some research, I found it was a common toast, but I also wondered whether he was telling Louis he was a liar. Did anyone catch that? And if so, what were your thoughts?
So initially, I thought that he was trying to come on to him, but and I'm not sure he wasn't still at this point, but I will say that I can kind of see that it was part of just a way to say F it, right? It's just a toast, right? But I did initially think that he was trying to come on to him.
Erica, you were shaking your head.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't kind of do that, and then maybe Louis killed him mistakenly or whatever, some kind of way. But I like how they ended him because I don't really like him anyway.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if I'm talking about the same scene. But is it the guy that was betrothed to the lady that found him? Okay, I thought he was just calling Louis out on like, hey, you're not from where you're saying you're from, or what have you. And then Louis kind of keeps moving, like, you know what, I'm gonna take your woman, and you don't, my vodka, keep moving, sort of thing. So I kind of missed the ending window.
I did too. I thought he was just telling him, if this is your sister, she's in her 60s, and you don't look like it.
Right. So
talking to you, but
I kind of thought that it's a combination. Like I thought it was a little bit of him coming on to him, but also him noticing, hey, there's some things that are off. And I thought that it was going to lead to him saying, I know what you are, and then being something similar, right? And hey, I want to be a part. I want to this, or let's do this, but it didn't. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that kind of knocked out one of my questions. Since you brought it up, Corey. But Elia, did you respond? I don't know if you responded.
I did.
Okay. So Claudia encounters the changed vampire. I'm calling him a changed vampire because I don't remember what they called him in the show. The Revenant. There you go. So Claudia encounters the Revenant vampire, but he doesn't seem interested in her at all. He merely pushes her away. Later, an excited Claudia tells he who shall not be named of what she found. But he claims that's not evidence. Claudia's response was, "Oh, if he ain't taking you ballroom dancing and calling you pretty, hell with him." Is Claudia jealous or resentful?
She's resentful.
She's resentful. She's sick of him.
She's sick of it.
That's been a thing.
It's weak ass.
Oh, he giving you pretty things.
Oh, because you're not levitating with your first wife, you don't want to be bothered.
Right. Look, because he's not blowing your back out. You don't care.
They might as well make her finger like this as she said.
Because that's what she really meant, and they should just let her say that. She should let her been a little crass.
She speaks with such conviction.
She does.
I love it. She
too.
tear your soul out.
She reminds me of people I know.
So Louis now remembers Claudia was dreaming. Why did Claudia lie? And how did Louis forget? So those are two questions. Why did Claudia lie? And how did Louis forget? We're going to start with Elia first.
I'm not entirely certain why Claudia would lie other than to further torture Louis. About her not dreaming. So, especially since he made her, kind of sort of. But I don't know why, other than that reason, would she torture him? But to torture him.
I think she wanted to keep something private.
So I think that she did for the opposite of what you're saying. I think that she did not tell him because she did not want to torture him. Right? I think that she was trying to, in a way, protect him because she's ahead of the curve, right? She got no street smart. She's ahead of the curve. So she already knew that he was struggling. Why add on to it? You telling me that you can't dream? I'm having serious dreams over here, right?
I'm having nightmares.
Right.
I don't know if they're nightmares. Those are probably pleasurable. Like she wants to kill.
So,
but, I guess for me, I'm saying to torture him because in Louis thinking, hey, if I'm sleeping and there's just nothing, there's no pleasure in that. There's no joy in that. At least if I'm dreaming, there's something. So the fact that he thought she wasn't dreaming, I just took that as, a way to torture him. Because I feel like he said as much.
Okay. And how did Louis forget? And Corey kind of said that earlier. He said basically it was Armand. Armand was basically taking his he was changing his thoughts, his memories. All right, next question. When the Englishman was begging Louis for help when the soldiers were going to kill his girlfriend, why beg Louis? Of all people, why Louis? Did he think Louis was a vampire?
He thought Louis was a soldier.
Right.
Yes.
He thought Louis was an American soldier who knew how to fight.
He thought he was AWOL. He thought he was AWOL.
One against all of them.
And I don't know.
Combination.
What'd you say?
But
Corey?
I think it may have been a combination. I think he thought that he was AWOL, but also thought that he knew that there was something different about him. Hence why he was asking the questions concerning age and all the other kind of stuff, because he knew something was off. He just didn't quite know what it was. So it could have been that he thought that he was AWOL, but also maybe he thought that he had a little bit something extra that wasn't able to help. At that point in time, he didn't care because he was fighting for her life, and he didn't know it. His life too.
I mean, this is also a woman who found y'all and brought y'all to where they were at.
Right.
Why wouldn't you help her?
Connection. That's what I was
Yeah, it's like, you guys, didn't she just help you? Help her. Help me help her.
And here's the funny part: how they just turn their back and act like they ain't seen nothing. They just walk off.
They're about to put off the head of a vampire. I gotta go.
That bite mark was confirmation. That was all they needed.
Yeah.
I gotta go. This ain't no place for me. I'm a whole vampire. What I'm gonna do?
Hey, look, it's human problems.
You wasn't lying?
Right.
So a little bit later, the two of them they go into the woods and they want to encounter the Revenant. Oh yeah, there was a humorous moment that you wanted to talk about.
They go into the woods, and Claudia is like a kid on Christmas morning. Like, hey, I got the present that I was looking for. I just peeled it back, and wow, look at it. And Louis like, excuse me. She's like, it's a vampire, right? She's like, it's a vampire, right? She's like, look at it. He like, look at it. Like, no, that's a catfish with teeth. Like, that is not. So I appreciated how in this episode they really amped up Louis' humor. I appreciated it so much because she is just so excited, so enamored, and he is disgusted. Like, that is not one of us. I don't know what you're talking about, but this old world, this old white vampire, that's not us. That's not our people. That's not our people.
I ain't that. That ain't me.
What'd you say, Eric?
Ain't that, and that ain't me.
Not it.
To me, it was a very nuanced black thing to do. We ain't the same.
Who first cousin?
We not kinfolk.
You ain't my equal. We ain't people. I ain't one of you.
Clearly, he ain't a skin folk. You got now.
I don't know you.
I don't know what kind of mutation.
New number. Who it is?
He ain't my kind.
Up till now, all vampires have been beautiful, right?
Ooh.
That is not what we get here in this particular scene. And they encounter another vampire, a female vampire, who attacks Louis. Corey, do you want to talk about that scene and what happens a little bit later?
Yeah. So I had so much problems with when they first met. What was her name? Denalia? I can't think of her name.
I thought it was Draconia.
Whatever.
Draconia.
Huh. I was excited because I thought that we were going to get a little bit more history, which we did get eventually. But I thought this was going to be the beginning of more information or more of the story leading to Paris, right? So, but what she basically said was, this is it. This is what it is, right? And she basically attacked them because, and in hindsight, she was right. You took the only thing that he was able to do was to eat, to feed himself, to keep himself alive. And it's a protective thing because she was lonely. And so they took the one person that was connected to her away. And so she was resentful. And she had already seen so much of loss from the other, the other old heads, quote unquote, being killed off, dying off either because of war, which they didn't really explain what happened to them, but that's neither here nor there.
The blood?
It was that it?
The war.
Did they say that? I assumed it was a war. I didn't assume it was a war. But they left.
I did.
And the blood, right? I thought it was a combination.
I mean, if you're blowing up whole, civilizations, and then they can't leave until it's nighttime, and you bombing places in the daytime, you burning all kind of stuff up.
Right. So,
all right.
That's just how I inferred it.
So Erica, I know you were excited about the backstory with Lestat and the other he who shall not be named.
Mm-hmm. I do. I am. I want to see how. Like in the preview, how it talks about how they're going to get into the Lestat's backstory and he who shall not be named. I want to know like what happened to them. We know what happened from the movie, and what really goes on with why Louis doesn't talk to Armand anymore. We know what's going to be Claudia's untimely demise. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know anything about it, like not on TV at least. Like they never made a movie about it, about his backstory. Like Lestat has such a backstory, so he can maybe get to see it. Just don't see anything.
Okay. And Corey, what is it that you want to see for the rest of the season?
Talk like it.
What are you doing? You can talk now. Talk.
Okay, there we go. So I want to see more about the relationship with you again. The relationship between the two. I want to see how Armand, how he got control of the movie, right, and how he kind of started to be able to manipulate him? What did he do that allowed him to kind of come in and be that one to kind of bring them to where they are now, right? I also am looking forward to seeing the emergence of he who will not be named, because really, Interview with the Vampire is the main character. Everything in the series kind of revolves around everyone's relationship with the Brat Prince or Lestat, right? And what happens as a result of that, right? In my opinion, I feel that a lot of the books center around Lestat, and so I do think that I want to see the emergence of Lestat. I want to see exactly how he knows Armand, which I think they had. I will say that in this story they're going to say that they had some sort of relationship or whatever. So yeah, and I think they did in the books correctly.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. Erica, is there anything that you want to see for the rest of the season?
Why exactly he who shall remain nameless? I want to see why he has such a hold on Louis. Like, is there another type of special going around? Is there another type of DDS? Everybody is aware of what the DDS is, right? The dick down special. Is there another type of DDS going around that we all need to find out about? You know, the fat had people out here flying. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hitting the pavement with no problem. Bouncing, still on it. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with he who shall remain nameless? You know what I'm saying? You can drop me. I'm coming right back.
I'm coming. Great expectations and levitation. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Gotta be some good DDS. That's what I'm saying.
Hell yeah. What is it that you want from the rest of the season?
I want more Lestat. I do. I want more Lestat. That's what I want. I want Lestat. I want sex appeal and lots of
fuckery. We want the fuckery.
Okay. I want a lot of shits. Okay? I do. But specifically, I need some Lestat. I do. Because he is just such an amazing addition to this series for me. I need it, and I'm not seeing enough. Not yet. But I am only on episode 1, to be fair. But right now, it's like Claudia's show. And cool, because I do like to see her. She's doing great. But I'm going to need a little bit more than Delaney. I'm going to need my French wife.
or other French, Spanish.
Or other French wives, because Armand ain't doing it for me. He pretty.
I want to see the other old vampires, the other ancient vampires, because we know in Interview you do get some sort of introduction to the other vampires that are a part of this world, and so I'm kind of looking to kind of see more of those that have more of a presence as you get on into the story.
But be careful about your request for ancients, because we got an ancient.
I don't like him though.
We got an ancient that was.
I don't want to root for him.
That was real primitive.
So one thing that is happening that I'm noticing with this season is they are merging some books. They are taking Lestat's story and they're merging it with Louis' story. So we're going to see more of Lestat, and it might be, this is just me assuming a whole lot, it might be a situation where we have a whole episode where it's just Lestat and it has absolutely nothing to do with the other he who shall not be named. And so we're going to get some of what you're looking for, Corey, and hopefully we get into the Almond Faces story as well, because that is going to explain some other things, especially as it relates to what's happening right now.
So in the vampire world as a whole, like we need that infusion of the other pieces of this puzzle. We don't have that yet. We didn't get it in the first season because they were new. Now we need to kind of start to see some of that, especially if they're going to merge this story with that other story that we don't want to talk about right now.
And according to the books, Almond Face guy is about him. He is about him. There's no mistake about this. There's no mistake about it. They specifically said, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
And the Almond Face guy uses it, and uses it quite nicely. So you got two bottom boys together.
Get the DDS.
Get the DDS.
We got one top in the whole story. It's a mess.
Woo!
I also am curious if they're going to make Molloy, if they're going to actually make him a vampire, because in the books, his character is turned into a vampire, I believe.
You referring to Molloy?
Yeah, I think his character is turned into a vampire. And I think his name was David. I don't think it was Molloy. It was David, I believe.
Oh, Daniel.
Daniel, I think was David in the book. If I'm not confusing it.
I don't remember it. So very end of the episode. Oh yeah. I don't know how you're gonna talk about this. Talk about this.
Honestly, it goes back into one, appreciating how much more humorous they made Louis, although he was very serious in that scene, because again, throughout the episode, we see that Claudia is very, very displeased with Louis as a maker, as a person, as a friend, brother, father, all those things. She's just not feeling him. So he just decides on his way to Paris with her, he's going to let her know, hey, I got some good news for you, or some soft words or hard words and then some soft words. However,
I
he
love how they phrase it.
And he like, look, this life ain't shit. It was never shit. It ain't gonna be shit. So basically, cut this shit out. That's what he tells her, and the way he frames it is so funny, you know. But then he comes back and he's serious. He's like, hey, regardless, I know you're in pursuit of all these other vampires, but you are enough for me. So if we never found another vampire, Claudia, you're enough. And I think that is going to earn him some amount of respect. Like, you don't have to say anything back in this moment, but let me paint it for you this way. And so I appreciated that. It was humorous, but it was also endearing. So I'm glad that they did it. And I'm glad that they did it at the end of the episode, because I was like, oh God, I needed something.
Okay. Any closing thoughts? Any closing thoughts about this particular episode that we didn't have a chance to talk about with the questions?
I think that this is turning into a really good season. I'm curious to see if all the questions and stuff that we posed are answered. But you know, this is a great series, and so we will see.
Hell yeah.
I'm just glad they didn't Mayfair me, even though this episode was. I was so good. The entire recording, I said nothing.
Lies.
But here we at the end.
So, as I was saying,
they will merge the two at some point, though. They got to.
But they didn't Mayfair me, even though it was slow. And I do feel like we could have done without some of it. I did not hate it, you know. So I appreciated that. So going forward, please continue to not Mayfair us with our favorite show, and continue to bring it with the acting and the gore, and hopefully they beef up the sex and sex appeal a little bit. And yeah, Elia's happy.
Okay. Bearer of Men. Erica. Okay, and with that, I think that's the end of this particular episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this particular recording. Until next time, which will be next week. See ya.